Hi everyone, my name is Veronica and welcome to my channel La Aventura Called Life. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about how I helped my boyfriend manifest his apartment. I'm going to start by showing you a video of the apartment during the day and how amazing it is, so you get to see it for yourselves. And after that, I'm going to get back to this video and tell you exactly how we manifested it and all the difficult moments that we went through until our manifestation actually came through. So welcome to my boyfriend's amazing apartment, and you basically, as soon as you walk through the door, you get the feel of what the apartment looks like and exactly what we felt when we walked through. It was also during the day. Of course, it wasn't furnished, so it didn't look as great, but you get a really good sense as soon as you walk in. So this is the main hallway, and there's a small laundry room, and then you get to see the bathroom. It's quite small, but very functional. You don't really need much more space than that, especially considering the size of the apartment. What I really loved about this apartment is that the kitchen overlooks these huge windows, and you get to see in a second when the camera zooms exactly how beautiful the view is and how far it actually overlooks in the area. I helped my boyfriend decorate his place. As you can see, these are some of the furniture was just from old apartment, and some other things we actually went out and bought in IKEA. And here, the couch area overlooks Toronto, so you can see this amazing view. It's winter time right now and it's quite cold, so you can't really go outside, plus the current COVID measures and the lockdown happening in Ontario. So it really makes such a difference to have this beautiful view, even on days when it's not, the weather is not so great and it's a little bit gray. Those two beautiful buildings you see are called the Maryland Towers, and you might think, wow, they look so great, it must be so cool to live inside them. But actually, what's even cooler than living inside them, which is actually not so cool because there's many problems in that building, is overlooking them and having that amazing view from your apartment. What I really loved about this apartment is you can see this custom built wardrobe that was made from the previous owner, whereas all the other apartments didn't have that. They actually had this really basic wardrobe with sliding doors. And as you noticed, there's hardwood floors in the bedroom, this is the only apartment that I've really seen so far that had that, and that was a really big thing for me because I really hate carpets in the bedroom or just anywhere in general. I go on the balcony to show you the amazing view as well, and really one of the key features of the apartment. And this building has the biggest balcony compared to all the other apartments, and it's considering it's a one bedroom, that's quite surprising. I hope you enjoyed this video, and now let's go back to the explanation of how we manifested this apartment. Now that you've seen how amazing the apartment is, I'm going to get into the exact details of how we actually came to land this amazing apartment and the incredible story behind it. I met my boyfriend 2 weeks after I came out of quarantine. I had just moved back to Canada permanently and settled down in my parents' house until I decided on how to proceed further and look for a job and move on with my life. I was finishing my master's degree last summer 2020, and doing it online. And 2 weeks after I came out of quarantine, I met my boyfriend. We immediately started dating after we met, And after a few dates, I actually suggested to him that we go on a little trip together. And I was just going with my gut. I wasn't really thinking. I didn't consider the fact that maybe it was too early, and I just went for it, and actually he loved the idea. So a month after we started dating, we went on a little trip together to Montreal and Ottawa. On the first day of our trip, he casually decided to drop the news that he's been considering moving to a condo in this area, where he actually ended up finding a place. And the funniest story behind that is that he was already considering moving to this area before we met, since this area is located very close to the highway, and the highway takes you directly to his work, which is about 10 to 15 minutes away. He didn't want to move to where his work is because he didn't exactly like the area. There's not much going on there, even though of course now it's COVID, but in general he just didn't like the area, and he didn't want to stay in the same city as where his parents were living, where he was living with them for a few years to save up money to buy a house. And what ended up happening is that because of COVID, he wasn't sure how the housing market was going to be affected, if prices were going to lower, and they were pretty high still by midsummer last year. So he just decided that the best idea for the moment was to rent a condo, which, as I said, he was already considering for some time before meeting me. Another part of the story that's very interesting is that as I said, he was already considering moving to this area before we met. But when I came back to Canada, as I mentioned, I went to live with my parents. Now, my parents live in this area, in the Square One area already. So that was quite funny and big synchronicity that he wanted to move to a place that's basically a few minutes away from my parents' house. August came, and we went on our trip at the beginning of August. So the first few weeks of August, he took it upon himself to find a place. He started looking and going to different viewings, but he wasn't seeing any apartments that he really liked. The only criteria really that he had for the apartment was that it had a balcony, which was really important to him. On my side, I had a lot more criteria because I'm a little bit more picky. I'm really into interior design as well. So, and of course, I thought that if he was going to rent a place for so much money, it should be something really nice. And some of the places that he was showing me did not look good at all. Definitely not for how much money they were asking for. When my boyfriend started looking for a place, he asked me if I could help him. He really considered my opinion because I've had many international experiences. I moved to many different apartments in different countries. So he thought that I'm a really good person to advise him on this topic. And I was really big into manifestation, and I really believed that I could help him find his perfect home. Fast forward, it's now mid-August, and he hasn't seen anything he really liked. He's shown me some places that he went to visit, but they were really not that great, and I advised him not to pursue them. And to be honest, he didn't really like any of those that he had already seen. We came across an ad on Facebook of an apartment, and they had a video showing the apartment, which looked pretty great. So I advised my boyfriend to message the landlord. He didn't really want to at first because the move-in date was mid-September, and he really wanted to move the beginning of September. He was just ready to start his new life and get into the condo as soon as possible. And also he was getting really sick of commuting extra time to work. So he was very excited to move at the beginning of September. But since he wasn't finding anything else, he ended up messaging the landlord, and the landlord told him right away that there were other people interested in the apartment, and he asked for more money. And that initial moment, I told my boyfriend, no, don't offer more money, he's bluffing. There's something better out there. We're gonna find it. So my boyfriend didn't, and we moved on, and he kept looking. Now, fast forward one more week, he still hasn't seen anything that he really liked, until one day he comes and he's very excited, and he had just seen a place in the area, and he came to see me and he's showing me the video. The apartment was okay, like a standard apartment in this area, like most of them that he's shown me. It had a balcony, that's great. And he shows me the video, and then towards the end of the video, I see construction site right in front of the building, outside the balcony. And it's a construction site of a building that they had just started, a condo that they just started building. So of course, I completely advised them not to go through with it. And he had almost made up his mind before meeting me, which was a little bit scary, because I mean, no one really wants to live beside a construction site, for sure, and not for the next 1 year. The reason why he was considering is that because it was a little bit cheaper in price, but you can't put price on peace, definitely, and you can't put price on a good view. A couple $100s a month is not, if you're going to spend so much money, it's just not worth it. And I told him, just don't do it. Definitely not this one. Don't go for it. I've lived beside places where there was construction and it was terrible. Fast forward, we come to the last week of August. He still hasn't found anything. Now he's getting really anxious and very stressed, and it makes sense, of course, that you think that you haven't still found anything. You're probably not gonna find something in the last week, but we were both a little bit worried, because that meant that if he doesn't have a place for the next month, and if he doesn't find anything beginning of September, he's not gonna have anything until November most likely. And we really just wanted to have some space after 2 months of dating where we can be together, be alone. He was getting a little bit stressed. I was really not so in the groove anymore of my manifestation technique, because nothing was coming through. I still kept hopeful, but nothing happened. And actually, before that, just before the last week, I advised him to message that person again to see, that was asking for more money for the apartment, to see if that apartment was still available. However, it was not. So yeah, we had to really keep hopeful, and especially me, because I was the one with the great ideas, with the manifestation strategies. So what other option did we have, really? I offered my boyfriend to help him start looking for a place. I went to see an apartment that I found on a Kijiji ad, and I didn't like it. It was asking for $2,000, but it was just not great. It was not a good apartment at all. And my boyfriend gave me the name of an app that was showing different apartments in the area, and you can connect through the app to connect directly to the realtor. So I started looking at all the apartment buildings in this this square one area, which there's many, and of course only the ones for rent. And I've probably gone through hundreds and hundreds of apartments, and many of those looked terrible, and I don't know how those people even thought that they can rent it, because the pictures were terrible and the decoration inside, they needed marketing help, definitely. But anyways, now I started looking, and I started off with this apartment building. I'm not sure why, but I felt called for some reason, and I started looking, and I didn't even know it existed. I've passed by a million times. I lived in this area for many years. I didn't really even know where it was located, but I started looking at the apartments, and there were maybe 3 or 4 apartments listed in this building. And I started connecting to the realtors and sending them emails asking them if it was still available. Now, after I had I was done messaging all the realtors in this building, I started moving on to other buildings. And in the meantime, I was sending screenshots and sending links to my boyfriend of the apartments that I consider good. And this apartment in particular, I remember him answering like, "Wow, I love it. It's great." Of course, I thought so too, even though the pictures did not do it justice. But this was the best apartment in this building. All the other apartments were, one of the other apartments was on the other side, and the view was just definitely not as great. And the other apartment was 10 floors down. This apartment is over the 30th floor. And the building in front that you saw earlier completely blocks out the view of Toronto, and you can barely even see the lake. So this was definitely top. And as I was sending all the links to my boyfriend, and I told him that I had already messaged some of the realtors through the app, he told me, don't worry about it, I'm gonna do it, just leave it. And I respected what he told me, and I left it because he was going to do it. Well, guess what? He didn't. I'm not sure what he was doing. That was on a Sunday. And on the next day, on Monday, I get a response from one of the realtors, only one of the 4 realtors that I had messaged for this apartment, telling me the apartment is still available and it has just gone down $100 in price to, guess what, $2,000 per month. I was so excited. Right away I wrote to my boyfriend. I told him we're manifesting. Of course I didn't want to get too excited because perhaps the manifestation could not go through until my boyfriend had his contract and his key in hand. I tried not to get too excited, but of course I did get a little bit excited in the moment. And right away I scheduled a viewing, and when my boyfriend came right away after work to see the apartment, and I came with him, and we actually were here with the owner because the realtor was busy. And as soon as we walked in, it was like done deal, like sold. He decided that he loves the place, and he began the process of getting all the things necessary to rent the place. Now, again, as I said, you never know, things can happen, the deal can fall through, but I kept hopeful. And in 2 days, when I already thought that everything was done and my boyfriend had pretty much already like rented the place and it was his, I received an email, and it had been sent in the morning, but by the time I saw it, it was already afternoon. It was from the realtor saying, I need X document from your boyfriend, he's not getting back to me, and well, I'm a little bit in a rush because there's another couple or a person that wants to come and see the apartment, but they've already put an offer for it. So I got a little bit stressed and started calling my boyfriend in a panic mode, like, have you seen this email, what's missing? And he's really cute actually. He was already on his way from work. He had left work early, and he was already on his way here to the apartment to officially, he had sent the document, he was already on the way to like officially sign the documents, and he wanted to reach out to me afterwards and give me the good news, but I caught him in transit as he was about to do it. But anyway, so that's how it happened, and he got the apartment. Everything was great. The owner didn't care that if there's any pets, and we asked right away because one of my dreams has always been to have a pet, and my boyfriend has a cat that his aunt actually gave to him because she couldn't take care of it anymore. And she specifically gave the cat to my boyfriend even though he was living with his parents, and they have a dog, so it's also not a great situation for the cat because they would always fight. And I asked my boyfriend to, like, if possible, if he was willing to bring the cat, and he was open to it, and the landlord didn't mind, so we got the cat. And well, as you saw in the video, the apartment is perfect. It's just everything, really. And especially nowadays during COVID and all the lockdowns happening, it's been the perfect place to just wind down and rest at home. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this long story of manifestation, and I hope it has inspired many people. I know that it can be really difficult and sometimes discouraging when you're trying to manifest something, whether it's a new apartment, a new house, a boyfriend, which I also did during COVID. I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe, and I'll see you next time with the next video.